Hello friends, I'm FIDE instructor Atul Dahale and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to see a very crushing game played by the current world chess champion Magnus Carlsen. In the ongoing Legends of Chess tournament, Ian Nepomniachtchi and Magnus Carlsen were leading the tournament, and this match between both of them is very crucial because whoever was going to win was going to be the leader of the tournament. So in this game which we are going to see, Magnus Carlsen played in a very aggressive manner, especially against the Grunfeld defense, the opening which is considered as a very dynamic opening. So without further delay, let's get started with the game and understand what really happened in the game. In this game, Magnus Carlsen was white, Nepo was black, and the game started with d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, and now black played d5. Whenever black plays d5 this kind of move, then we can say that this opening is Grunfeld defense opening. Yes, now there are several options from white side, but Magnus decided to play knight f3, then bishop g7, cd5, knight d5, e4, knight c3, bc3, and c5. Well, now we will see what is really happening in this position. In this opening, white usually tries to control the center with his pawns. You can see with the I have highlighted it, the pawns are controlling the center, and what is black doing? Black is trying to exert pressure on the center with his bishop on g7 as well as the pawn on c5, and also the knight on b8 is going to come on c6 and it will put more pressure on the d4 pawn. Usually we know that everybody says that in the opening we should try to control the center. Here in this position, the control of the center is there from both the sides but in a different way. White is trying to control the center with the pawns, whereas black is trying to control the center with his pieces and it is exerting pressure on it. So in this position, Magnus Carlsen decided to play yet another interesting move, that is rook b1. The idea of this move is to attack the b7 pawn so that the bishop on c8 will not be able to come on g4 square very easily, because the pawn on b7 will be lost in that case. Here, black decided to castle so that his king will be safe. Magnus played bishop e2. He also wants to castle in this position. C takes d4, c takes d4, and now black played queen a5 check. Well, what is really happening? The queen a5 check is there. Black is also attacking the pawn on a2. Now, to protect the pawn on a2, you must play queen d2. But Magnus was not in any kind of mood to exchange the queens in this position, because if you play queen d2, then black will play queen takes d2, bishop takes d2, then he can play b6. Obviously we want to develop the bishop on c8, then castles and bishop b7. You can see this, both the bishops from black side are exerting pressure on these two pawns, and black will be fine in this position because the knight will also come in the game via d7 or c6, and black will be comfortable in this position. Okay, this is also theory and many games are played in this particular position, so we cannot say that this is something bad for white. But today Magnus Carlsen was in a mood of fight. That's why he played bishop d2, sacrificing the pawn on a2. Well, we'll see what happens if black captures the pawn on a2. Obviously, it will give white a lot of activity, because you can see the pieces on d2, e2, knight f3, rook b1 are all kind of developed in this position. And look at the pieces from black side. The bishop on c8, the knight on b8, the rook on a8 are yet to be developed in this position, and black is having a little bit problem to develop his pieces harmoniously. Okay, that's why here white just castled. He brought his last piece in the game. Now black decided to, okay, this is the position, I need to bring my pieces. If I don't bring my pieces, if I stick to the pawn on b7, and then if I don't play my bishop, then he will be a little bit behind in development and white will just take the advantage slowly and gradually, because the queen on a2 is also not very well placed. So here he plays bishop g4. Obviously the idea is to play bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, and the pawn on d4 will be lost. So Magnus plays bishop e3. Obviously here another option is bishop g5, putting the pressure on e7 pawn, but in that case black will play in a very creative way. He has a very nice option of playing h6, sacrificing the pawn on e7, because his pieces will be there to attack on white's weaknesses. Now if the bishop moves in this position, the pawn on e4 is going to fall, Let's suppose white plays rook b7 controlling or supporting the bishop on e7. Then black can play knight d7. Now in this position the bishop must move and the pawn on e4 will fall. Once the pawn on e4 will fall, the pawn on d4 will also become a kind of weakness in this position, and that is not something white is going to do in this position. Obviously Magnus Carlsen is a player who always plays in a very solid manner. That's why he opted for bishop e3 supporting the pawn on d4. Here black plays knight c6 and it is putting pressure on the d4 pawn. Now the pawn on d4 will be lost if white is little bit he is careless in this position. Let's suppose he plays h3 in this position, then bishop takes f3, and now can you see what black can do in this position? Yes, he can play bishop takes d4, and now he will play rook f d8. He will be pinning this bishop on d4. The queen is there, so that's why this bishop cannot move there anywhere. And next move we are going to capture the rook on d4, and then you can see that black will be pawn up in that case, and that is not something which white wants to do in this position. He doesn't want to lose the pawn, especially in the center of the board. It is the backbone of the position. That's why Magnus Carlsen played d5 in this position. Now knight went to a5 square. Here he plays bishop g5, putting the pressure on e7 square. Black defends the pawn with queen a3, and also if needed he can even go to d6 square whenever it is possible for him. Well, here in this position previously b7 to b6, this is also played by black pieces, and then bishop takes e7, rook f e8, d6, and now knight c6. Here very interesting option is to play bishop b5, then knight e7, sacrificing the exchange on e8, because what we will see after the exchange sacrifice in this variation, black has a very strong bishop on g7 plus 2 passed pawns on the queen side, and this is something which is very interesting position, and many players have played this position successfully from black side. Okay, there are other alternatives also in this position, and one of them was queen a3, which Nepo played in this game. After queen a3, Magnus Carlsen decided to play rook e1, then bishop c3 came, attacking on the e1 rook. What will you do in this position? Magnus Carlsen played queen d3, pinning this bishop, because you cannot capture on e1 because queen on a3 will be hanging in that case. And here rook f c8 was played. This is absolutely right. You are supporting the bishop here. Rook e d1. You should protect your rook. Here finally black made a little inaccurate move, you can say. Not exactly bad move, but a little bit inaccurate, because b6 was played, and we know this thing that whenever we push any pawn we create some kind of a weakness. Objectively speaking, b6 is a move you can definitely play in this position. It is not harming your position, but you are creating a positional weakness in this case. The weakness is of the a6 square. Yes, a6 square. I will show you what is really happening, because once your piece will come on a6 square, that piece will be controlling the, I am talking about the bishop or queen, okay? That piece will be controlling the c8 square, and the a7 pawn will also be under attack. So we'll see what really happened in the game. h3 was played by white. This bishop is a little bit annoying on that square. He pushed him back to d7 square, and now he plays rook dc1, putting pressure on the bishop on c3. And one more thing is that this bishop is also threatening to capture on e7, because once the queen will go back, we can capture the bishop on c3, then rook takes c3, queen takes c3, and we will be pawn up in that case. So to avoid the threat on e7, Nepo played f6, completely unaware of Magnus Carlsen's trick in this position. Yes, he tricked his opponent, and he has seen something which is very deeper. f6 is a big mistake in this position, because after bishop d2, the first of all, this bishop cannot really move, or he cannot really capture on d2, because the queen on a3 will be hanging. So the only forced move in this position is to play bishop b2, supporting the queen on a3. But if you play that move, the thing is that after rook takes c8, queen a6 is a good move. Now this queen is stuck to support the bishop on b2. Another thing is that this queen is attacking the a7 pawn, and if black tries to save the pawn with rook c7 in this case, then we have a nice move, that is bishop f4. Now if this rook moves anywhere, let's suppose rook c2, then we can play queen takes a7, then the bishop on d7 is hanging, the pawn on b6 is hanging, and that is not something good for black in this position. So he cannot really play that move. And if he plays bishop e5, obviously black will be losing a pawn straight away after knight takes e5, f takes e5, and bishop takes e5. Look at this poor king on this g8 square. The dark square weaknesses are there, and I think this position is clearly better for white in this case. So the pawn will not be defended with rook c7. So Nepo played queen a2, creating his own chances. He is attacking on b1 and he is asking Magnus now to do something. If you move the rook anywhere on this file, then obviously, let's suppose you play rook f1, then rook c7, and there is no threat in this case, because if you play bishop f4 in this case, we can simply first play bishop c8, the queen will be attacked and the position will be kind of okay because your bishop on b2 is also not attacked. But Magnus Carlsen had a very nice idea at his disposal. He played rook takes b2, queen takes b2, and now he captured the pawn on a7. After capturing this pawn, the bishop on d7 is hanging, the pawn on b6 is a little bit weak. Okay, here if you play something like rook d8, obviously we can play queen c7, the rook should move and the bishop on d7 will be lost. So that is not a good idea. So Nepo played queen a1 check, king h2, and he played queen a4, supporting the piece on d7. And here Magnus Carlsen played yet another good move. He played bishop d1 in this position, deflecting this queen, because Magnus Carlsen understand if this bishop on d7 falls, black's position is going to fall very soon. And as there is no good option from black side, if he plays queen b5 in this position, white will play knight d4, the queen will not have any squares and the bishop on d7 will be falling, followed by the rook on c8 is hanging, the pawn on e7 is also hanging, and that will not be that much good for black. So he captured on d1, then queen takes d7, now the rook is hanging, so he played queen c2, supporting the rook on c8. Obviously you have two options here, one is queen e6 check and one is queen e7 check. Here queen e7 will be a mistake because that will allow black to play queen c7 check and the queens will be exchanged, then black will be having a passed pawn on b file and black will survive in this position, or you can say the black will get more chances to win in this case. Okay, so you need to be very precise, and Magnus Carlsen was very precise in this case. He played queen e6 check, then king h8, and now he played d6, undermining the pawn structure. Now d7 is one of the threat, d into e7 is also threat, ed6 was played, queen f6 check, king g8, and now he brings the bishop on h6. Now queen g7 is a checkmate. So Nepo played queen c7, and now can you see there is a mating attack which is going to come on the board. He played queen e6 check, king h8 was played, and finally he plays knight g5 with the mating threats as knight f7, knight d8 will be there, and here Nepo finally resigned. Just to make the things clear, I will just show you. If let's suppose you play b5, then knight f7 check, king g8, knight d8 check, king h8, and now queen e8 will be checkmate. So this is the game which Magnus Carlsen played in a very crushing manner. He demolished, you can say, the Grunfeld defense by Nepomniachtchi in this game. I hope you enjoyed this game. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe to my channel. We will be coming up with something interesting very soon. Stay tuned with me. Thank you very much for watching the video.